A quick note, this episode covers some topics that might be unsettling to some younger listeners. It's the kind of stuff you might learn in a high school history class rather than in grade school history. You might want to listen to a different episode of Music Blocks if you're around younger ears. This is Music Blocks, a podcast about the building blocks that make up your favorite sounds, whatever you love to listen to. The Polish composer Krystof Penderecki had been working on an unusual piece for orchestra. Rather than giving the instruments typical melodies and harmonies to play, he wrote parts that sounded more like sculpted noise. When he finally heard the orchestra play it, the music sounded brutal, almost violent. So he decided to give it a title that reflected something that horrified him: the deaths caused by the atomic bomb drop in Hiroshima in World War II. Today on Music Blocks, the sound of disgust. It's a strong emotion, but you'll be surprised at the nuanced music it can inspire. We'll check out some harsh sonic textures, jarring imagery in the lyrics, and visceral instrumental arrangements.
What is it about them?
Sometimes, songwriters use a small blast of harsh sound to express how unsettled they feel. Billie Eilish does this with an abrasive synth bass in her song, Zanny.
Smoke, still just drinking canned Coke.
Eilish is singing about how she finds reckless drug use really repellent. The bass, which distorts every other sound in the chorus, reinforces just how profound that feeling is for Eilish.
Don't give me this any now or ever.
Southern trees bear strange fruit.
This song's arrangement is understated, but the lyrics are a punch in the gut. The lyrics talk about racism and murder in the American South.
Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
It's one of the most distinctive protest songs ever. Strange Fruit, sung here by Billie Holiday, is a cry for justice against an oppressive system. But Holiday's performance is also so delicate. It adds a different texture to the disgust in the lyrics.
And bitter cry.
Paak added texture to his protest song by incorporating recordings from Black Lives Matter protests in 2020.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly, and in the name of the people of the state of California,
you should have been downtown. The people are rising.
In his song Lockdown, he expresses his disgust in his lyrics, pointing out injustices the nation was grappling with during that tumultuous summer.
Won't you tell me about the looting? What's that really all about? Cause they throw away black lives like paper towels plus unemployment rate. What, 40 million now? Killed a man in broad day. Might never see a trial. We just want to break chains like...
Sometimes, people express disgust to spur their listeners into action. Uruguay was in the grips of political upheaval in the 1960s and 70s. In Solo Digo Compañeros, Uruguayan folk singer Daniel Viglietti honors those who fought in the struggle and lost their lives. You can hear the pain in his voice as he sings about losing his patience and fighting for liberation. He sings poetically about the power of song facing the power of a gun. And the horns, they add urgency to the injustices he describes. Instead of horns, Danish artist Agnes Obel uses a mix of strings and synthesizers to set up a critique of modern society in her song Stretch Your Eyes. Obel describes the world around her, but not necessarily the physical world.
That will hold, that is all tight and cool.
Obel is singing about her disgust over the lack of privacy in a digital world. And like the technology she describes, the musical textures are elegant and unnerving at the same time. Music can help an artist express their disgust in ways that words alone can't. Some of the most effective techniques for this are upsetting imagery in the lyrics, harsh sonic textures, and unexpected instrumentation. This episode of Music Blocks is almost over, so take a minute and try to remember the last time you felt disgusted. Then, try to think of words or sounds that express that feeling. Would you sing about some shocking images, combine sounds in a jarring way, or use creative instrumentation to bring across these ideas? When you've imagined what your disgusted music might sound like, visit our website for a playlist. That's at musicblockspodcast.org. For Music Blocks and Colorado Public Radio, I'm Luis Antonio Perez.